Hi everyone, so today we're going to be taking a look at some brand new 2020 Democratic presidential nomination polling. There is a lot going on, not that I will say, but we've had a lot of polls that have come out recently, and there has been a lot of mischaracterization of the overall polling data, a mischaracterization of the trend that the polling data is going in, and I'm going to unpack all of that in today's episode. So let's just run through the top line numbers. Biden right now 28.9%, still with an 11.8% lead, but has dropped since then. Sanders at 17.1 has seen an increase since August, and but has now dropped down a little bit, 17.1. Warren at 16.5, she experienced an increase, reaching a high of 18.5, and has now dropped to 16.5, but overall continuing her trend of moving up in the polling numbers. Kamala Harris at 7.0%. This is very interesting because right after the second debate, or right before the second debate, she was at 7.0. She jumped up to 14.7. Then she has slowly seen a decrease in her polling numbers, and she's literally exactly where she was back before that first debate. Pete Buttigieg has also seen decreasing numbers at 4.6%. Andrew Yang, surprisingly, in 6th place with 2.5%, has seen an increase in his numbers. Cory Booker and Beto O'Rourke both at 2.4%. Booker has seen a slight increase in his numbers. O'Rourke a slight decrease. Why is it refreshing? Okay, there we go. Tulsi Gabbard at 1.4%, Julian Castro at 1.1%, Amy Klobuchar at 0.9%, Steve Bullock at 0.8%, and Marianne Williamson at 0.8%. Gabbard leading that next tier. They have all seen sort of stabilizing polling data. Williamson seeing a slight uptick. If we take a look at Williamson's polls, 0, 2, 1, now she's sort of consistently getting 1% in more polling data. Then the tier after that, Bill de Blasio, Tom Steyer, Michael Bennet, and Tim Ryan all tied for 0.5%. Then John Delaney and Joe Sestak at less than 0.2% there. Joe Sestak not registering in any polling data. So what does this mean for the 2020 race? Right now we're going to be taking a look at that is videos. So Joe Biden right now still leading the pack. There is this new Monmouth poll where Biden is actually losing. Sanders and Warren are in the lead at 20%. However, that's just one poll, and many people are characterizing this as the be-all, end-all for Joe Biden, but it really isn't. He's still leading in a lot of these polls. He still has a double-digit lead over Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders is still in second place. He's in a shaky second place right now, but there's also a lot of misreporting on Bernie Sanders that, he's now in third place, he's now in fourth place, but that's really not the case. He's actually still in second place, and Warren, actually, if anyone, people keep saying, oh, Warren's just increasing, she's not stopping. She's gone from an 18.5 down to a low of 15.7, so she's actually decreasing recently in her numbers. But overall, I do think this Monmouth poll is an outlier. The trend, I agree, not good at all for Joe Biden. But did he lose 13 points in 2 weeks? I'm not buying that. I just don't buy that. And right now Biden's at 19, and it's clearly an outlier in his numbers. 25, 31, 32, 30, 32, 33, and then 19, and then 29. He seems to be hovering in the low 30s, late 20s, not really the late teens. The high teens, sorry. And Bernie Sanders, there's a lot of reporting going on saying, Bernie Sanders, he's lost all his momentum, but he really hasn't. He reached a high of 24% in an Emerson poll that was done recently, and so I think it's important not to fall into sort of these sort of traps that some people will say, Now, Sanders and Warren, they're the definitive frontrunners of the 2020 race, whereas that's really not the case. Biden is still leading. So right now, yes, the Monmouth poll, it's important. There's been a lot of reporting on it. That's good because it is an outlier, but I don't think we should be putting too much stock into some of these outlier polls because the trend line, it's not good for Joe Biden, but he didn't lose all that much support in all that much time. So 25% in the Economist poll that has Warren at 21%. So again, the trend line maybe not the best. Biden plus 14, but the tie is clearly a sort of an outlier in this case. There's still 4 polls in a row that show Biden leading by more than 12 points, and I believe that's 5 out of 6 polls that show him leading more than 12 points in total in these new ones. So I do think this Monmouth is an outlier. I'm not going to go on a tangent about it though. A few things to say about the debates. So the debates are coming up. Who's in and who's out? It's pretty much following the polling data. So 10 people are in. So Biden, obviously in, Sanders, Warren, Harris, Buttigieg, Yang, Booker, and O'Rourke. So all those people, those top 8 in terms of the polling, they're all definitely in. But then it gets a bit messy because Tulsi Gabbard, who's averaging 1.4, will not be in the debates, but Julian Castro and Amy Klobuchar will be. So the top 10 is Biden, Sanders, those 8, plus Castro, plus Klobuchar. They are excluding Gabbard, and I think this is because Gabbard, a lot of the times where she seems to be doing well, a lot of the times where she seems to be doing well is in some of these polls that are not actually DNC approved, and I'm not going to go into a tangent about that, but that is interesting to see that Amy Klobuchar, who's not even polling at 1%, gets to be in the debates, but then Tulsi Gabbard, who's polling maybe not double, but getting into the realm of possibility that she's polling double what Klobuchar is polling, is excluded from the debates. I'm not saying that Tulsi Gabbard was, the DNC conspiring against Tulsi Gabbard. That is not going on. But it does seem that a lot of the times when she's getting 2%, 3% in polling, it does not seem to be DNC approved, and I thought I'd point that out. But so up to Klobuchar, everyone in there except for Gabbard is in the debate, and then all of these people, Bullock, Williamson, de Blasio, Steyer, Bennett, Ryan, Gillibrand, Delaney, and Joe Sestak, they have all been excluded from the debate. And overall, I think it's a good idea to exclude some of those lower polling candidates from the debate. I would even argue that Klobuchar shouldn't be in the debate, Castro shouldn't be in the debate, Gabbard shouldn't be in the debate. And, I think O'Rourke, I think it should sort of just be this top 8, because it does seem like a top 8 is forming. O'Rourke and Booker and Yang, you could make an argument that they shouldn't be on the debate, but they're probably the next people who should be excluded from the debates. So it looks like it'll all be in one night. I think it would be better to have them split over 2 nights so that there's only 5 candidates per night, and each candidate gets time to be able to talk about their policies rather than everyone sort of fighting, because that'll just be like the previous 2 debates, which were a total mess, especially the CNN one. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and good night.